So markets are down today as Trump's global trade war continues. And guys, I know how it feels every day when the news is just absolutely insane. It makes you feel crazy. Guys, I really know. I just want to say this, you're not crazy, you're not alone. And if you're looking for some sanity, you've come to the right spot. So let's try to go through this stuff together and keep each other sane, to be honest. This is the headlines today. Stock market today, Dow slips after Trump threatens 35% Canada tariffs. We just talked about this in the last couple of videos. If you got a letter, that's what the percentage is going to be. So I guess Canada's at 35. If you didn't get a letter, I guess you're at 15 to 20%. So basically taxes are going up for Americans. And yes, it's crazy.
I'll tell you a little simple language. 1 year ago, our country was a dead country. We were going nowhere except down. We were the laughing stock all over the world. And now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're number one everywhere, anywhere in the world. And that's all they're talking about is our country. 1 year ago, it was a dead country. Now it's the hottest country.
Okay, so I agree. Yes, everyone's talking about the USA. Is it a hot country? It's hot in terms of like craziness, a hotbed for crazies. That's what Trump is. And he's like, I'll just keep it simple for you guys. We're a hot country. Yeah, that's what we have to deal with every day. And on top of that, I did see this, and if you haven't seen it, there's a lot of footage floating around. These are the headlines. Protesters and agents clash at major immigration raid at California farm. Basically, Trump is turning our cities into war zones. I mean, honestly, if you look at this stuff, it's like people in full tactical gear. They're out to intimidate, detain, and they're throwing, gas at the protesters. One of the reporters said that the gas seemed to be a stronger mix than normal. And it's, guys, I really see it. It's hard to talk about every day, to be honest, because this is not, the environment that I want anyone to have to be in. And when I see this stuff also, I know that people's family and friends and neighbors are deeply affected by this stuff. I used to live in LA, if you don't know, so I know the area really, really well. On top of that, they're talking about arresting people without probable cause.
Look, people need to understand, ICE officers and Border Patrol, they don't need probable cause to walk up to somebody, briefly detain them, and question them. They just need the totality of the circumstances, right? They just got through the observation, get articulable facts based on their location, their occupation, their physical appearance, their actions. Like a uniformed Border Patrol agent walks up to them at for instance, a Home Depot. And they got all these articulable facts, plus the person walks away or runs away. Agents are trained. What they need to detain somebody temporarily and question them. It's not probable cause, it's reasonable suspicion. We're trained on that. Every agent, every 6 months, get Fourth Amendment training over and over again. These officers are really good at what they do. And if this judge would make a decision that's against what these officers are trained, what the law is based upon, then they're going to shut down operation. I think that's their end game. They want ICE to stop doing this. But if they base it on the rule of law, they're going to find out Border Patrol and ICE is doing exactly what they're going to do.
Okay, so basically what we're looking for here is where the court's going to stand, right? They're on shaky ground is what ICE is doing, and you can easily search this stuff. I'll just show you guys a couple quick things. No, generally you cannot detain someone without probable cause. While police can briefly detain someone based on reasonable suspicion for investigation purposes like a Terry stop, this is different from an arrest which requires a probable cause. And so this is where you're going to get in really shaky grounds of what they're doing, right? How do you define what probable cause is? Like, oh, you looked the wrong way. And that's literally, they were talking about physical appearance, this kind of stuff. So I'll just say this, that the courts are this is where the legal fights are coming in on this stuff. Effectively Trump is just, having people kidnapped, sent off to El Salvador, etc. And like I said, that's in the courts now with the Abrego Garcia cases, multiple things going on. But yes, the system is insane right now. I really know. And on top of that, you have this unqualified, inept people that are being appointed to various positions in the Trump administration. So, for example, this is a real headline: Nick Adams, Hooters-loving alpha male, Trump wants as ambassador. I'm talking about ambassador to Malaysia. Okay, have a watch of this guy.
Stop sending Pizza Hut pizza to my house. When Pizza Hut went woke and decided to peddle drag queen propaganda to our youth, patriotic alpha males everywhere took a pledge that Pizza Hut stuffed crust sausage pizza would never again pass our lips. And now they're trying to win our business back. So let's settle this right here, right now. I don't care how many pizzas you send, I will never ever cave, and I will never ever ever apologize. And if you want to really know how I feel about the left's woke precious pizza, I'll show you. I'm off to Hooters with the boys. The boycott stands.
All right, so we're driving over pizza boxes. No, for real. I know, but when I first saw that, I was like, is this for real? Is this a Saturday Night Live joke? No, but this is real. NBC News. Trump nominates alpha male influencer Nick Adams as ambassador to Malaysia. Yeah, this is who is in the Trump administration. If you're curious, what's this guy's qualifications? Well, I guess he really likes meat. Yeah, okay. Alpha male. He's got the alpha male hat. Sure. He writes books praising Trump, how much Trump is awesome, and you know, from Mar-a-Lago to Mars. I guess Elon's going to be awesome also in there. And this is some of his qualifications. He loves the Bible, breasts, beer, 36-ounce bone-in tomahawk ribeye steaks. He takes his coffee hot and black. He claims to dine at Hooters, the restaurant chain famous for the, you know, sparingly dressed waitresses 4 to 6 times a week. He says he lifts weights daily. I like how they write this. He says he lifts them, right? He says he lifts weights daily and spends, quote, ample time in the hot tub with the boys. Okay, great. Watches President Trump rallies from start to finish, and once ate 48 eggs by 6:04 a.m. during the campaign to power him through. So that's your alpha male, devilly handsome mega influencer. I guess the quote with devilly handsome, that must be his self-described. I don't know. But that's who, I mean, like if you, I know, there's scary stuff we can talk about with the Trump stuff. There's more crazy stuff, and this is just more clowny stuff. But this is what it is. It's all wrapped up into one. You also, this kind of headlines who are in the Trump camp is a hedge fund kind of person. He'll often comment on various issues, Elon Musk, politics, Trump, whatever, markets. But Bill Ackman, abysmal pro tennis debut sparks mockery, biggest joke. Even Andy Roddick was talking about this is beneath the Hall of Fame. Roddick was actually really ticked off by this thing. So basically you had Ackman buy his way into a professional tennis match. As you can see here, Bill Ackman got smoked in pro tennis doubles tournament, and it went about as well as you think. I mean, this guy, I think he's 59. He's playing with pros, and the pros are just humbling him, you know, playing like they were just, I mean, the other guys are pros, and like this guy's just a total amateur. It just, you know, went like what you think it was going to go like. And effectively what this was is this represents a lot of what we're seeing today is just unqualified people in positions of power. They buy their way in, they use their family connections, and, you know, Trump's qualifications like, oh, well, you know, as long as you send me love letters or, you know, give me whatever bribery, I'll take it because you're so awesome. I mean, that's sort of what it is. That this thing was massive corruption. This is even Bill Ackman speaking. And it's, you know, he says, I found myself on a tennis court in a live stream professional tournament with a few hundred in the crowd. Throughout the match, my wrist, arm, and body literally froze with the expected negative outcomes. I had difficulty breathing, and it was not a fitness issue. It got better as the match progressed, but I was not able to overcome it. It's a joke, right? The point being is we're putting unqualified people into positions of power. And I know we don't talk about tennis all the time, but you know, from Roddick's perspective, you know, professional tennis is like, hey, you know, you're taking a spot from someone who's trying to earn a living, like a professional tennis player is trying to earn a living, trying to, you know, get their chance to move up in the rankings, these kind of things. Like you're eating up someone's spot. You know, you're using money and power to basically, that's what corruption looks like. Unqualified people in bad positions. And, you know, what the Trump people are doing is they're like firing anyone who's good, basically. I mean, this is what you have here. State Department is firing more than 1,300 employees in downsizing plan. We just talked about this a few hours ago. I thought maybe it would take a little bit longer, but I guess they're doing it already. Email coming out. It says the State Department is firing more than 1,300 employees via email on Friday, today, as part of the Trump administration's plan to downsize government and cut back on the quote bloat, right? The move has come under strong criticism from current and former diplomats who say the cuts will degrade America's standing in the world and curb U.S. soft power. If you want to know why we're failing, it's because of this. Like the guy that I showed you, the Pizza Hut dude, right? He's running over pizzas. They're trying to make him ambassador to Malaysia. And like, what's his qualifications? I guess he likes to be in hot tubs with boys, go to Hooters, right? And you're fine. I know I make jokes about stuff. And I mean, I want to make this clear. These are real people losing their jobs here who, don't deserve to, the way that Trump are treating these people is the same way Elon was doing with many employees. The department is sending layoff notices to more than 1,100 civil servants and 240 foreign service employees, according to an internal notice obtained by the Washington Post. Foreign service officers will lose their jobs 120 days after they receive the notice and be placed on administrative leave during the interim period, the notice says. The separation period is for most civil servants is 60 days, so it sounds like they're trying to get rid of these people ASAP. Rubio, head of the State Department, see what he has to say about current state of things.
Americans, after 2 or 3 decades of unfairness, if you look at some of these trade deficits, they're massive. They're massive. That has to be addressed, and that's not sustainable at the current direction it had gone. This should have been done a long time ago. President Trump's finally done it, and I think countries understand that this was different. If this was us targeting 10 countries or 5 countries, then I would understand why countries would be upset. But the truth of the matter is we're resetting tariff levels with virtually every country in the world. And so I understand if you had a deal where you were running these huge trade deficits with the United States and exporting a lot to the U.S. and built your economy around exports, but had very little import or very little economic activity coming in from the United States, I understand why you don't want that to change. But I think most mature leaders, and everybody here is a mature leader, understands that that's not a sustainable dynamic. It was one that had to be changed.
So I'm sure everyone else is a mature leader. I can't speak, to Rubio or his boss, Trumpy wise. Here's the thing, guys. This whole trade deficit thing it's a bunch of nonsense. Someone actually wrote in the comments recently. I read it, and I read all your comments to make sure. So that's why I enjoy reading all you guys and hang out with you in the community. But you guys have a lot of good comments on this stuff. And someone commented recently that's like, think about if you go in your neighborhood and you go down to the grocery store and you buy, bread or milk or eggs or whatever from the grocery store. And then are you angry that the grocery store doesn't buy stuff from you? Think about that. That's actually really good. And I'll put it just more in country terms, is like, say, hey, USA, you buy lots of bananas from Costa Rica, and you just take a ton of bananas. In your bigger countries, you're going to have a lot more banana consumption. Are you angry that Costa Rica doesn't buy, apples back from you in the same quantity, right? Or, hey, we get clothes from Vietnam, for example. Are you angry that Vietnam then doesn't buy, clothes from us or something like that, or as we talked about before, say if the average income in Vietnam, just for example, is say around maybe 5,000, maybe 7,000 a year. Are you upset that Vietnamese aren't going to buy your $50,000 US cars or $100,000 SUVs? I mean, do you guys understand like this trade deficit thing is so ridiculous the way they talk about it? It's just ridiculous. And this is just, it goes on and on and on, but I just want to keep you guys informed of what's happening. And I know too, if you have MAGA people in your life, I really know they probably don't understand any of this stuff. I know it's like frustrating if you try to talk to them. Trust me, I really know. And but there are some reasonable people out there, like they when they start to see things like really fall apart, they'll start to come around because the whole system is falling apart. For example, FEMA leader is a no-show after deadly Texas flooding. So his name is David Richardson. I guess he hasn't been making any public appearances, which is kind of weird. Noam has been stepping in, which is also, she's completely unqualified, but that's the MO for everyone at the Trump. FEMA head admits internal meetings. He doesn't have yet a plan for the hurricane season, but this has been for all these people that they're just deeply, deeply unqualified. And again, you're picked. Hey, if you go to Hooters and you tell me how awesome I am, according to Trump, that's how you get appointed in his administration. This came out today in Bloomberg. Binance aided Trump crypto firm before founder CZ sought pardon. Of course they did. Of course they did. I'm not surprised by this stuff. And then I want to bring this up. The White House, they were tweeting out just a couple hours ago, symbol of hope, truth, justice, American way. Superman Trump, right? So this is the stuff that Trump likes. He likes to be painted in this kind of superhero way. Trump presidency, truth, justice, and the American way, Superman, right? I take deep offense to this, actually. We went to go see the new Superman movie. We saw it a couple days ago. I haven't mentioned it on the channel yet because I know it hasn't opened up in the USA quite yet. But I'll just say this: they got the Superman story right, and you know, it's not a perfect movie, but it's I would recommend it. It's a fun movie, and it's also a meaningful story in a very positive way. Superman is actually a very American story. And actually relates to my story as well. I mean, literally does. If you don't know, I wrote a book. It's called Positive Angle. I'll tell you briefly my story. I am an orphan and a refugee from Vietnam, and essentially I was put on a evacuation to the USA. Essentially, that is Superman's story. His planet was falling apart, and he was put on a escape capsule to come to Earth. And you know, much of my upbringing, my growing up was trying to like, what the heck am I doing in the USA? I'm Vietnamese. Like seriously, that's like in the same way that Superman's like, I'm from Krypton. What the heck am I doing in USA? Seriously, it was the same story. And then you have some people, and that's not spoilers. You already know this stuff about Superman, right? Is basically the villain character, which would be Lex Luthor, which has always been the character. He doesn't like Superman because Superman's not human, not alien. I mean, he's alien, he's not human, right? Same. So it's basically like an immigrant story, right? And Superman's literally a refugee. His planet was destroyed. And so I really identified with this, and they address a lot of things in the movie that's done very, very well, be it social media, be it how people think about immigrants, etc., what it means to be human. Very, very well done, and very many positive things I have to say about the movie. But I'll just say this: when the Trump people completely misunderstand any of this stuff, and I see it quite frequently with the Musks or any of in their ilk, where they don't even understand the movies that they're watching. Musk often cites Star Trek, these kind of things, and if you actually watch Star Trek and you know what Star Trek is, you'll know it's all about working with all kinds of people, right? Like this, the original Star Trek was like the cast was very, very diverse. And all Musk thinks about Star Trek is he just thinks it's about teleportation devices and stuff like that. And it's like, no, if you actually watch Star Trek, the stories and I grew up with Next Generation, it was all about improving humanity and moving in a positive direction. So I know it's tough to talk about this stuff all the time, and I'm always encouraged when I read your guys' comments and share things in the community, because you guys make me a better person every day. And I'm happy to have you all in the community. I may not get everything right all the time. So for example, in the last video, I was mentioning that Hugo Boss was an American company, but it's actually a German company, which is absolutely correct. Or you guys are correct, not me. Sometimes, but it was a very minor thing in the video, and I was just like kind of just talking about various American companies. I'm totally fine saying, hey, I made a mistake on Hugo Boss Origin, which is not essentially a big deal. But I mention that is because I'm just trying my best to give you guys an honest perspective on this stuff. And what I do every day is I just go through the news, tell you what's happening, and then also try to figure out the truth of stuff as well, because I want to know for myself. And I think it's so hard today's world because there's a lot of people out there who aren't acting in good faith, right? They don't really want to know the truth. They just want to put out whatever nonsense to promote their worldview. But my opinion on this stuff is that if you want a better place, you have to learn to figure out ways to work with all kinds of people, learn to get along with everyone. And unfortunately, there's some people in this world, be it the Trumpers or the Bill Ackmans or whatever, just think that qualifications is all about who family you're from and what your skin color is, and you have to buy your way into everything, and that's how things are done. And if you don't live in that old boys network, then you're not, worth anything. Like, that's how these people think. I'm telling you guys, I really know, trust me. I purposely did not want to work around the Trumpers or the Ackmans, this kind of things. And I stand by my decision that if you don't know, I went to the same school, these people, so I know who these people are. And it's really ugly what's happening to America, but not everyone in America is a Trumper. And I just try my best to give you guys a different perspective on that. So I do appreciate your time, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.